All right, let's just get right into it. If you're here, you've probably stood back to back with your friends or secretly checked your height on a door frame, just hoping for that extra inch. And when you go online, wow, it's just a sea of confusing advice, weird stretches, magic pills. It's honestly exhausting.
And look, that feeling of frustration, it is completely real. It can be tough watching others have a growth spurt while you feel kind of stuck. You're definitely not alone in feeling that way. But today, we're going to tackle this with some real science.
So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Let's cut through all that noise and get down to what the research actually says. How much of this is in your hands?
Okay, so let's start with the fundamentals. The easiest way to think about your height is like an equation. On one side, you have the hand you were dealt, your genetics, and on the other, you've got everything else, your lifestyle. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Yeah, about 70% of your potential height is pretty much locked in by your DNA, but that other 30%, that's huge. That's where you come in. That's your nutrition, your sleep, your activity. And if you think 30% isn't much, get this. North and South Koreans share a very similar genetic pool, but today, the average South Korean man is about 4 inches taller. That massive difference, that's what that 30% looks like in the real world. So how does this growth actually happen in your body? Well, it all comes down to these things called growth plates. You can picture them like little construction zones at the end of your long bones. As long as those zones are open, your body can keep adding new bone, making you taller. But once they fuse or close, usually in your late teens, that construction site shuts down for good. That's why this window of time is so important.
And who's the boss at these construction sites? It's a super important hormone called HGH, or human growth hormone. Your brain releases HGH, and it's basically the master signal that tells your growth plates to get to work. So our whole strategy here is about learning how to naturally boost this signal.
Okay, let's get into the game plan. It's all built on 3 main pillars. And the first one, well, it's the bedrock of everything. It's the fuel. You just can't build a tall building without the right materials, right? This pyramid here shows you exactly what those materials are. At the very bottom, the absolute foundation is protein. Protein provides the amino acids that your body literally uses as the building blocks for new bone and tissue. Seriously, if you don't get enough protein, nothing else is going to work. So how much are we talking about? The science gives us a pretty clear target. You want to shoot for at least 1.5 grams of protein for every kilogram of your body weight. So, if you weigh 60 kilograms, you're looking at 90 grams of protein every single day. This is your #1 mission, nutritionally. Yeah, once you have those protein building blocks, you need a support crew. That's where these guys come in. Calcium is like the cement that hardens the new bone you're building. Zinc is like the foreman that activates the bone-building cells. And boron is the lesser-known guy who helps everyone else on the team work better together. It's all about teamwork. All right, you've got the fuel in the tank. Now it's time to hit the gas pedal. Pillar 2 is all about activity, sending a clear, powerful signal to your body that it needs to get taller and stronger.
This is based on a really cool scientific principle called Wolff's Law. Basically, it means your bones are smart. They're not static, they adapt. When you put healthy stress on them, they respond by remodeling and getting stronger. You have to give your body a reason to grow. So what kind of stress are we talking about? Think short, explosive, high-impact movements. Sprinting sends a huge signal up through your legs. Sports like basketball or volleyball, where you're constantly jumping, are fantastic. And even targeted stretching, like hanging from a bar, helps to decompress your spine, which not only improves your posture, but gives you that little bit of extra space.
And hey, let's just bust a huge myth right now. No, lifting weights will not stunt your growth. That's just not true. In fact, when you do it properly, it's amazing for you. It strengthens your bones and can even boost your HGH levels. The only little catch is you probably want to avoid super heavy spinal loading exercises like heavy squats during your peak growing years.
All right, pillar 3. We've talked about the fuel and the trigger. But this last pillar, this is the secret sauce. This is the one most people completely forget about, and it might just be the most important piece of the puzzle. I really want you to let this one sink in. You can eat all the right foods and do all the right exercises. But if you don't give your body the time to recover, you're not building anything. All that actual growth, the repair, the getting taller, it all happens when you are fast asleep. And this graph shows you exactly why. Just look at this timeline. The biggest, most powerful surge of human growth hormone that you get all day happens in one massive pulse, right in the first few hours of deep sleep. That window between about 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. is prime time for growth. If you're up playing video games or scrolling on your phone, you are literally missing your single best chance to grow. So how do you protect that critical growth window? It's actually pretty simple. You aim for a solid 8 to 9 hours a night. You try to go to bed and wake up around the same time every day. Yep, even on weekends. You shut off all screens at least an hour before bed because that blue light messes with your sleep hormones. And you make your room as dark and as cool as possible. Simple rules, huge results.
Okay, so you're dialing in your nutrition, your exercise, and your sleep. You are doing everything you can to maximize that 30% you can control. But now we need to have a real talk about the big picture and redefining what potential really means.
This is a really important question to ask yourself. What happens if you do everything right? And that's it. You've hit your genetic limit. Your growth plates have closed. It's so important to realize that this is perfectly okay, because your height is just one tiny, tiny part of who you are.
Look, let's just break it down. Here's what you can't control: your final genetic code and when those growth plates decide to close up shop. But look at the other column. Look at everything you can control: your fitness, your physique, how confident you are, the skills you learn, the person you become. That's where your real power lies.
And hey, if you need any proof that height has absolutely nothing to do with being a giant in this world, just look at this list. We're talking about some of the most successful, respected, and charismatic people on the planet. Their success didn't come from a tape measure. It came from their talent, their hard work, and their character. So here's the bottom line. Absolutely do everything you can to optimize that 30%. Give your body the best possible chance to reach its physical potential. But then dedicate 100% of your energy to building all the things that truly matter. Because your real potential, it has no height limit at all. It's built by you every single day.